Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Always Get Lost, the podcast about life and travel abroad. This is episode 4. I'm Angela Carson, your host, and I'm incredibly excited today to be speaking with my old friend Hrish Thota, who I met in 2011 in India when we were both food bloggers. Hrish, I always thought was pretty awesome because he was the first person in India to have a verified Twitter account, which I know seems stupid, but if you work in social media and do what I do, that's pretty cool. He's India's top family travel blogger. He has 130,000 followers on Facebook, 40,000 on Instagram. He has been working with brands as a social media influencer as well for the past 18 years. He's worked with over 200 brands, and his current passion is traveling with his wife and their 7-year-old son, reviewing fun things for families to do around the world. Now, I'm super jealous of Hrish. He's actually been invited to blog by Gold Coast Australia Tourism Board, Taiwan, Philippines, Singapore. He's worked with AirAsia, Dubai Tourism Board, South Africa, Visit Britain, Goa Tourism, Sri Lanka Tourism, Hong Kong Tourism, and many, many more. So the focus of today's podcast is basically two travel influencers swapping secrets and advice. And I would like to just put on the record right now, both Hrish and I hate the term travel influencer. It just sounds, I don't know. It is not good, but it's much easier than saying, oh, I'm a travel blogger, I have a YouTube channel, I'm active on social media, and I have a podcast. But for all intents and purposes, it does apply, and that is what we are calling today's podcast episode. Now, if you're looking to become a travel influencer, we are going to be sharing tips on branding, on your media kit, how to pitch, how to get collaborations. We're also going to be sharing funny stories of reviews gone wrong, the first time we were flown out for a review, which is always an epic thing for a blogger or YouTuber. It's kind of a milestone. And we're going to talk about our most lavish collaborations. Now, I am coming to you today from the seaside cove I was last week. I live in the Riau Islands in Indonesia, and it looks like it's about to storm, so I'm a little bit worried about the sound. Hopefully Mother Nature will cooperate, and this is going to go smoothly. But if you do hear birds or any other wildlife out there, just know you are sitting on the seaside in Indonesia with me. So let's get right into it and welcome Hrish Thota. Hrish, hey, it's nice to see you. How are you?
Hey Angela, nice to see you too. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
How are you and the family?
Yeah, they're doing good. We are just holding on because no travel is possible right now, and we are working from home.
All right. So today we are going to spill the beans and tell the truth on what it's like being a travel influencer. And in the intro, I explained that you and I both hate the term travel influencer. It just sounds wrong, but it's easier than saying, oh, I have a blog, I have a YouTube channel, I'm on social media, I'm podcasting.
Right. Absolutely.
I think if we try and be as truthful as possible, but maybe not out particular hotels when we're talking about our horror stories,
right.
We'll keep it safe for us.
Absolutely. So we are more of travelers, I would say, and then we are sharing experiences so that, influencers have been really beaten. I mean, the word has been really abused by a lot of people, but I think we are trying to create content around travel, and at heart, we are all travelers.
Yeah, for me, I always try to say, because my channel isn't about me so much, but I always try to say that I help people make travel decisions.
Yes.
So that's how I view my channel. And you and I both, we met, I don't even remember where we met in 2011 in Bangalore. Do you remember the event?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly which event that was, but I think we collaborated more during that Guns N' Roses concert, which was really successful. And
that was so much fun too.
Yeah, that was so, because that was like, our childhood dreams come true actually, because, having grown up listening to Guns N' Roses music and then seeing them live, that was a wonderful moment.
Yeah, for all of you listening, I was actually the social media manager and digital marketing manager for Guns N' Roses India tour in 2012. I toured with the band. I was the person doing the PR, generating the videos for social media, and all of that. It was such a blast. Hrish has such an amazing bass. And I tagged him in to help me promote the concerts, which was a big success. Yeah, thanks again for that. That was such a fun time.
That was great.
All right. Yeah. Well, I want to start with how we each got started. So I actually don't know the history of how you started your channel and how you the path that you took.
So basically I started blogging in around 2001 when I was just out of college, and I was just new to Bangalore, and I had met some technology friends of mine, and they were basically talking about this new thing called blogging, which is coming up. And there used to be a website called Live Journal. This was one of the earliest blogging platforms, and people used to add each other as friends, and they used to blog about what's happening with their lives. And then it used to be in a very community kind of a format where you could see each other's blogs, and you could follow each other, and that's when I started blogging. And it was mainly about the kind of, as I was discovering the culture of Bangalore, because I was new to Bangalore. I was discovering the pub culture of Bangalore. I was discovering the music scene. I was discovering the culinary treasures of Bangalore. And I was even looking out for the different travels that I could do from Bangalore. So that's when I started my blog, and I started sharing content there. And slowly I started connecting with other like-minded people in Bangalore, and we started having blogger meetups. And then this became like a
what year was that? Tradition. What year was that?
This was 2002, actually, 2002.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
So then it was never like, we were never looking at it as a more of a it was more of a passion than more of a working or a vocation kind of a thing. So, and then we decided that I started blogging, and then over a period of time I started building a follower database, and I was also, as new social media platforms came in, like at that time there was Orkut, MySpace. And then I started, putting out my content on these platforms also. And then that was like, that's how it grew. And as new platforms started coming in, like Facebook and Instagram over the years, I started adopting my content to these guys. And then I started ensuring that, I still put up relevant content. That's why over the years also, I've still not lost my passion for the same. And I've been still wanting to, create interesting content so that my followers enjoy it and they want to replicate it also.
Yeah, I think it really helps when it's not your job, because you and I both do it as a passion. We both have day jobs that we really love in digital marketing and branding. And so to be able to do it as the thing that de-stresses you or that makes you happy outside of the stressful, workplace, I think really helps, because it's not my moneymaker. And it's not your money maker.
Right. Yeah. That's helped a lot, because there's no pressure on that. You are trying to create content which you really love. And then you are obviously trying to, like you said, trying to help others to plan their trips and itineraries. And then tell them about what they can do best in a place, and then let them do that.
Yeah. Well, I started in Bangalore as well, but it was a decade later than you. Because I started my first blog in 2011, the day that I moved to India. I had jet lag and I couldn't sleep. It was the middle of the night. And I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm in this new magical world. I'm either going to have these insanely long Facebook posts or be, sending email blasts to family and friends every couple of days, or I can set up a blog. And because I had worked in digital marketing my entire career, the companies I had worked for, I always would oversee the blog. That was part of my department. And so I knew WordPress on a basic level. And I was able to go in and set up a blog in the free WordPress in the beginning. It was angelacarson.wordpress.com. And then I just started writing every day about what I was experiencing in in my life since I moved to India. And finally, one Indian blogger found me. Her name was Pencil Girl back then.
Okay.
And Pencil Girl found me and just consumed my entire blog and then shared it on her channel. And then other people found me. And I was just writing about, I went apartment hunting today. Oh, they don't serve wine at restaurants here. It's really weird. Oh, I got hit by a cow today when I was walking. Oh, just these.
I remember. I think I used to enjoy reading your blog posts, especially with your driver. He was like very helpful.
My driver,
was almost like a Shiva. Yeah, Shiva was so helpful and so almost became like a family member to you, actually.
Yeah, and I always thought of him. Once my blog got more popular and I changed it to a normal, .com blog, he actually had a little part on that blog because most of my blog posts, I would write things as I saw them. And then I would ask Shiva about them. And it would be like, Valentine's Day. At my daughter's school, they're sending roses and chocolates to friends. You can pay, X number of rupees and you send something to your classmate. And I remember telling Shiva, and Shiva's like, "Oh, madam, no, we do not want that. We do not want our daughters to have attention from anyone. That is not correct. That is not acceptable." And I was like, "Whoa, okay, I didn't realize that." And I would take what he said on board and then
different perspectives.
It's not that it's right or wrong, but this is the way it is in the international school. And Shiva says that this is really not welcome, generally speaking, in the Indian culture, and explain why. And it made the post more interesting. It really did.
Yes, absolutely. So it gave a different perspectives from both your side and from his side. And that was really wonderful to read because it made a lot of interesting read. And I think also your stories about IPL parties were like legendary. Really interesting.
So my blog actually stopped being a personal blog once I got friends in Bangalore. It took me about two months to find friends. I ended up writing about Sunday brunch because the group of friends I had, they went to Sunday brunch every week. And it was always a different place, but it was 3 or 4 places and you just cycle through them. And all of a sudden I started having increased blog traffic because people were typing in, like, where's the best Sunday brunch in Bangalore? And I remember seeing that and I was like, hell, I got to get more of these posts. So I contacted the Taj Hotel and I told them, I said, I'd like your PR manager's email, please. And I emailed her and in 5 minutes she called me back. And she said, you're doing something that no one else is doing. We would like you to visit all of the Taj properties in Bangalore, go to brunch, have champagne with your friends, take as many as you want, we'll pay for it. And just write about it. It's like, awesome.
That's great.
And that is when my blog stopped being a personal blog and became a food blog, which eventually became a travel blog. So you went from having what was the name of the journal?
Live Journal.
Live Journal. So you went from Live Journal with was it just your name? How did you brand your channel?
Yeah, that's a very funny story, Angela, because when I started the blog and I initially thought like blog meant something which you could do along with your group of friends and all that. So what I actually did is I created one with the name of my college, which is Dempe College. So that's why my brand name Dempe stuck with me. Bangaloreans started knowing me by that name Dempe. And then over the period of time, as I created my other identities on other social media platforms, that name stuck actually. So that became like my identity. And then I was like but over a period of time I realized that Live Journal was not sufficient enough. I was like, okay, let me move into WordPress. And that WordPress was started, I would say around 2008 or 2009 I started WordPress, and I got my own then I moved to dempe.com. So I bought the domain. And my college has dempecollege.com, they don't know.
You took it first. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I took it first. So, they didn't even realize and they didn't even care about it. So they're still in touch with me, and I keep in touch with the teachers and all that. They know I have dempe.com, but they don't really care because they got the dempecollege.com. So they don't really worry about that. But and I started blogging about my different, like I started.
That's amazing. And your brand then is different from your blog to your socials?
I've been calling it as a Dempe travel blog. So because my name still no, I'm still known by Dempe. So I'm calling it as a Dempe family travel blog. It used to be a lifestyle blog. I mostly moved it to the family travel blog, and then focusing only on the family travel predominantly, but also sometimes talking about maybe parenting or talking about food or something like that sometimes.
Well, it started to rain here. Hopefully, you guys can still hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, with my brand, I started in India and I used to be angelasbangalore.com.
Yes.
And it was the number one blog in Bangalore. If you typed in Bangalore blog, it was number
It
one
used to be
for
that. Yeah.
5 years.
That's right.
And I was so proud of that. But when I moved to China, I was fucked because you can't take Angela's Bangalore and make it a blog about Asia travel.
Right.
And I realized at that point what a big mistake I made by kind of micro niching my channel name down. So when I moved to China, I also realized that Angela's Bangalore had my personal blogs, but it also had my luxury travel or travel reviews. And so the same person who's reading my personal blog, which is now Expat Angela, and it's been Expat Angela since I left India in 2013, those people don't necessarily want the luxury travel reviews and videos. And so I split the blog at that point. And I've gone through a couple renditions with the travel blog. But when I started this podcast, I realized that everything was getting really messy. I set up the new Always Get Lost YouTube channel and Instagram and Facebook. So it was just a friend of mine came and just said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" It's like, you need to stop this. You need to have one website that's Angela Carson and put everything in it, and then keep your travel blog, keep your expat blog, but run your podcast through your main personal branding website, and keep just one set of Facebook, one set of Instagram, and one YouTube. So that's what I've done now. I went through, after all these years, I'm finally Angela Carson on YouTube, on social media, and I have the website set up as well. And it feels quite good to have liberated myself of, the additional social media channels, and it's less work to streamline things. And so I'm going to keep the two blogs, my one website that has the podcast, and then everything else, and YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram all the same. Twitter as well.
I think that makes more sense, so that all the content can be found at one place, and they are able to see that. And of course, you could have different things, like you're talking about expats, you're talking about expat life, you're talking about travel, luxury travel. You could have multiple sections in the same website. I think that is fine. I think so, because some of the best content has been created by you, and I think that's still very relevant actually. So I think that can still say.
Yeah, I'm not to the point of putting everything on angelacarson.com.
Right.
I'm still going to keep the two blogs. That seems like I'm a little bit scared about that. Just because I have that fear that not everyone wants the same thing, and that the personal blog is very personal at times.
Yes.
And I think that brands like Marriott and Taj, they wouldn't want to go on to my site when they're checking me out and necessarily see some of the real life moments that I share in my personal blog. I feel like from a branding perspective, at least as a travel influencer, it's still smarter for me to have that luxury focus on luxurybucketlist.com. It's really important, because new influencers, when they're starting out, trying to find a .com that actually has available social media channels as well is tough. It's a really tough exercise to go through and finally find something that feels on brand for each person and is also available and isn't already taken. Yeah. You and I were talking before we started recording that what people don't know. Are you okay with me divulging this secret?
Yeah, sure. Let's go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
So I think that one of the things that people don't realize is that with travel influencers, we never pay for any of our travel.
Yes.
I was telling Hrish that the last time I actually paid for a hotel, it was one night. I had a one night delay in my flight in Vietnam, and I paid for one night of a hotel in Hanoi. So can you hear the thunder?
Yeah, I could hear the thunder.
All right, welcome to Indonesia, folks. What people don't often understand is that for travel influencers, our content is it's a barter system basically with a brand. And they look for what you can give them, and then they offer up something that is a win-win. So if you're a very powerful influencer, you can charge thousands for your time and just to offer a brand access to your audience base. But for me, I don't have a very big channel. I'm just very good at SEO. So my videos often land at number one. So for Four Seasons Maldives Kudahora, my video is number one. For the Ritz-Carlton Langkawi, my video is number one on YouTube. And that has value. So I don't charge for me going and reviewing properties. I like to stay objective. So in case something is quite hiccupy or there's a big problem, I can talk about it. But it's wonderful to have the trips that we do and the experiences that we have just in exchange for, moments on our channel.
Yeah, Angela, I think that's what I also look for, barter collaborations where I am able to add value to the hotel, where I'm talking about some of the aspects of the hotel which you can't really find elsewhere. Many hotels are looking at barter collaborations because they look at the value that we can provide to them.
Because you actually, with barters, you've sent me, because you and I have, over the years, we introduce each other to different brands and
Right.
we support each other in that way. And
Yes.
You've had barter agreements that are just, wow, like so detailed.
Yeah, I felt that it was worth it because I felt that that's the kind of experience which is like thousands of dollars, and then you are actually spending so much time and they are spending time taking care of you and ensuring that your entire stay is wonderful. So I felt that it is important to mention the kind of deliverables that I do on all the social media platforms, and I also mentioned that what are the kind of as features of these social media networks that I would be using. Like I would be doing an Instagram live, I would be doing a Facebook live.
So it adds value. It adds value, yeah, because that content as well is favored by the algorithm in Instagram and Facebook. And because they favor it, you get more views on that type of content. So yes, it's a boost for the brands to have you doing that.
I do a mix and match of all of these things when I'm offering to a brand, and the brand clearly sees that what are the kind of value that they are getting out of the collaboration with me. So then they go ahead with that, and that really works very well also because they also know what coming out of it. I know what are the things that I should not miss out. Of course, I like to go for a vacation and I like to enjoy it also, but I also have these things that okay, today I need to shoot this stuff, so that is kind of laid out for me, and in the rest of the time I just enjoy the scenic views or the activities and all that I do that. But it gives me a structured approach which helps me and helps the brand also.
Yeah, I found that doing live check-ins and showing people, kind of going, because I have a fabulous selfie stick, which took me a long time to actually love, but it's leather and beautiful and it works for the luxury travel space. Yes. And so I've learned to not be embarrassed by doing the live videos, and I'll go from outside the property in, up the elevator, show people the room and give like a mini room tour as a live check-in. And that seems to be content that people really like because you get a first glimpse of things before the experiences really start.
That gives them like as if they feel of they're there with you, and they are also seeing that what's happening as you are discovering new things. So they like that.
All right. Okay, so how about we swap funny stories of reviews gone wrong? Like
Okay.
your worst, the worst review, like just tell us what was it?
Okay.
Spill the tea, give us the dirt.
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, without revealing much details about the brand, because I don't want to be like, blacklisted by them for the future. But I would say that one of the recent reviews where I actually visited North India, and it was during the harsh winter. So what exactly happened is that I went to the place, and then it was started raining heavily, and then we were like, this is like screwed up. And then when we landed there, it started snowing heavily there, because it is at a very high point, and our vehicles couldn't reach there. So we were stuck at we were stuck without accommodation for the night, and then we were like wondering what to do, because it was
Wait,
almost like,
where do you sleep if you don't have accommodations for the night?
yeah, at that moment we didn't have, but then because we were told that we might have to go back to the nearest town, which would take us around 4 hours in the dead of the night, kind of thing. So that was really bad. And
That's
then
so bad.
but luckily they found some homes which are like made uh, something like which were made for road construction, kind of thing. So these were made for engineers who were doing the road construction. These were how, like, basically like shipping containers, homes made out of shipping containers, kind of thing. They didn't have they didn't have heating, and they didn't have proper facilities. No food and all that facilities was not there. So we were asked to stay there, but then we were like, okay, what else we could do? We couldn't get. It would be better to stay there than going another 4 hours in the dead of night to the nearest town, and even then check for some lodges or something like that, which may not be really good. So we just had to spend the night there, and we just took the blanket and just put it very snugly. We couldn't do
Put all
much.
your clothes on from your
Yeah,
suitcase, all the
actually,
layers.
yeah, I didn't even take off my fleece jacket that I had on. I just slept with that fleece jacket on. I didn't even take anything off, because I was like, rather let me just sleep like this, rather than get some frostbite or something like that later. So that was really pathetic. I think the organizers, they need to at least have an eye on what is happening about the weather, and then they should have made some kind of alternate arrangements. They didn't even do that. I was really disappointed. But then some of the other activities which were there kind of made up for it later on. So that's
Yeah,
about
that's a
that.
rough night though.
Yeah,
Like you
that
would
was a very
never
rough
put
night.
yourself in that situation willingly.
Yes, and
And
I was like really dread. I was really thanking my stars that I didn't get my family there, because I just came alone. But there was somebody who got their daughter, who was around 10 years old, and she was really,
that's
messed
miserable.
up. Yeah.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah, well, mine, I will also not divulge the hotel
Mm.
brand because it's a major hotel, 5-star hotel brand in Asia. I thought I was going for a review at this hotel that I was really excited about. And they had told me that there was going to be this like kids pool opening up at their sister property next door, and would I also go to that for an hour or two, on one of the days. I was like, sure, that sounds great. But it turns out that the PR team, all they wanted me for was for that kids pool. And I don't have kid friendly content on my travel channel. It's just not my style. And so I was so excited about the hotel review that I thought I was there for. And when I checked in, I kind of realized that something was wrong because you know how it is. Normally, there's someone
Yes.
waiting for you, and hi, Miss Carson, Miss Carson. Oh, great! We're so excited to have you. There wasn't really any of that. I checked in normally, and in the room, there's generally a handwritten note with a bottle of something to drink and some fresh fruit. There wasn't any of that. And as I went through the review, everything was a hiccup. Like the room that they put me in, I could literally hear the people upstairs. It had to be a man. I could hear him urinating in the bathroom. Like every time he peed, I could hear every moment of his stream. It was
Oh, shit.
disgusting. So the room was just not the one that they normally put their journalists or travel influencers in. And when I went for the first meal, the table they had set aside for me had bird poo on it. And none of the dishes that they brought were good enough for food photography. Because when they know you're eating and you're shooting photos and video,
yes,
like they make it beautiful and perfect. It's like they sent me a bowl with sloppy soup all around the edges. You can't do anything with that. And the rest of the dishes just didn't look plated. They look like food plopped down on a plate. So it was just hiccup after hiccup. And then I finally realized the next day at that event that that's all they wanted me for. So after that, I've stopped agreeing to do the extra event that I don't really want to do, to make sure that I'm there for the right reasons, because that was just a waste of my time. The review was so terrible, I ended up sending them all my notes, and they asked me to please not post it. So I wasted all that time shooting video, all that time, my time as well, and that's for nothing. Really all right, so it does get better. Once you establish yourself, like you were saying, the brands start to reach out to you. Right. So when was the first trip that you were flown out for? Because for me, that feels like a milestone. Like when you hit that and they actually want to invest in flying you someplace, that means that you're worth the investment on their side. So where was your first trip where they flew you out someplace fabulous?
So I would say this was to Philippines actually. So
nice.
I was contacted by Philippine tourism, and they flew me down to Philippines for a 6-night, 7-day, fam tour, which is like really, unheard of in general times, because generally they try to cram a lot of things in just a couple of nights or so.
Yeah,
2 nights.
Exactly.
They just try to cram them. And here the itinerary was a very flexed out one, where you had a lot of flexibility and you could do things at your own pace, and just do a lot of things that they have signed up for, and then you're just exhausted by the end of it, and you don't have the time to shoot the content that you wanted actually. So that was really wonderful, because they took us to some of the places. Like they took us, they put us up 2 nights in Boracay Islands, which are really beautiful. Then they took us to there was this El Nido Resorts, which is in the middle of the sea, and it's like a private island with only the resort and nothing else.
Wow.
So it's like wonderful with they have their own sunrise trek on the island itself, on top of the mountains on top of the hills behind the resort. And then they have these their speedboats which take you from around that to catch the first rays of sun. So those kind of really exotic places. And they have these monitor lizards roaming the island like there's nothing. It's like it was like a very exotic holiday. And then this was like and they gave us a lot of time to just relax, and then just spend more time there, and then talk about the places, then just rush up and see a lot of touristy places. So they wanted us to relax and do the luxury part actually. So that was wonderful actually. So I think
That's
that
so nice.
was one of my highlights. Yeah, one of the best trips that I've been flown to.
What year was that, Hrish?
This was 2015, I think. Yeah, 2015.
Oh, nice. Yeah, my first was in 2016, okay. And I was a digital nomad at the time around Southeast Asia.
Right.
Yeah. And I had been putting out videos a couple times a week, and always 5-star, really fun. And I was contacted by the Sarawak Tourism Board, which is on Borneo, on the Malaysia side of Borneo. So it's either Sabah or Sarawak. And Sabah is where the orangutans are. And Sarawak
I went to Sabah recently, last year actually.
Oh, nice. I've never been. I was supposed to go right when the lockdown happened. Yeah. So, but yeah, Sarawak Tourism Board actually contacted me. It was very exciting. And they said, look, we'd like to fly you out for a week. And we want you to go to the Mulu National Park, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And it was a collaboration with the tourism board and with Marriott. And Marriott put me up on the coast in Miri. And then they flew me out in this it was a prop plane that went to Mulu. And Mulu is a rainforest destination. You can't get there by road. And it's such a tiny airport that the airplane has to do a turn around at the end of the cul-de-sac and come back, and there's literally enough space for 2 airplanes. And Marriott picked me up in this van that didn't have windows and was really scrappy, but kind of felt very jungle-y. And the place was amazing. It was one of the most relaxing stays because the property itself, it's the only luxury property in Mulu. The rest are kind of backpacker properties. And this one, I had like a villa not a villa, but my room was on stilts, but above kind of a low-lying, oh gosh, what is that where the lily pads, like there were lily pads all below. And they had a wonderful itinerary for me. It was days spent exploring the rainforest and caves and going on like 1 kilometer jungle walks, but that you would walk on a suspended rope bridge through the trees. And it was amazing. It was such a wonderful first experience. And I was happy that it wasn't a fam trip. It was just me. So I was able to customize the experience a little bit.
Yeah, I remember that. I think that was wonderful. I remember those pictures and videos that you had put up. I was really jealous of you, It was like a wonderful, that's like my dream come true. So, those resorts looked so perfect, and the entire, that area itself, yeah, like you were saying, Sarawak is one of the most beautiful places of Malaysia, and not much explored by anybody actually, because generally people go to the mainland Malaysia, which is Kuala Lumpur, and then maybe Langkawi they might go, but they never visit much of Sarawak and Sabah and all that. So these are like really wonderful exotic places actually. I think
it was honestly my favorite trip of 2016, and I traveled nonstop for months. And I went on a cruise from Singapore to Thailand. I was around a lot, and that was my favorite. And it stayed my favorite until about 2018, I think. So that was really special. But it felt so nice to be for them to initiate that. It really did feel a bit like a milestone. Like, I finally made it. Well, so I thought before we get to the tips for anyone looking to be a travel influencer, we're going to talk about the media kit, pitch email, how to get started, social versus blog versus YouTube. We could share one last story, and that's the most lavish collaboration that you've had. And that could be a travel experience or a luxury product if you've been given some thousands of dollars, some amazing products. So tell us your most lavish collaboration.
I think the most lavish collaboration that I've done was last year when I went to Australia. And so I visited Gold Coast, and so I collaborated with Gold Coast Tourism, which was really lavish because they took care of our entire stay for 2 nights and 3 days, and we were put up at we were put up in a hotel on the coast, overlooking the beach. And then we were also given access to a lot of wonderful activities which are there. Like, we went up the 1Q1 tower, which is the tallest tower in Southern Hemisphere. We went there with wonderful views of the entire Gold Coast. We went hot air ballooning, which was an amazing experience because hot air ballooning, hot air ballooning around sunrise. So we got up at 3 a.m. or something like that, got ready. We were driven out at around 4 a.m. to the place, and then we boarded the hot air balloon, and then we went, and as we were going up the hot air balloon, we could see the sunrise around the plains of Gold Coast. We did the Aquaduct Tour, which is like good for children. Basically, it's where they take you on this bus which converts into a boat when it goes into the water. And then we also did in an outback adventure trip, which is a beautiful extravagant show where they show that it's like cowboys and how outbacks used to live in Australia. So it's with a
That's so much fun.
proper dinner with a steak and the best of the food of Australia and all that, which is there, and the wines of Australia. So that is there.
Wait,
And
you're
also,
Indian, so what was the steak? Did they serve beef or did they serve an alternate?
they gave chicken, actually, chicken as an alternative. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So they even had a vegetarian option for Indians because they see that a lot of Indians come to Gold Coast also. So they had vegetarian options also. And apart from that, they also they gave us access to the some of the best amusement parks in that part of the world. There is the Warner Brothers movie world is there. There is Sea World, which is there. So Sea World, which is there and so these very good amusement parks also they gave us access. So it was like a very good 3 to 4 day trip to Gold Coast, and our entire family was taken care. So it, and including my parents, actually. So I had traveled with my parents for the first time to. And they were like, we want to showcase how even grandparents can enjoy with their children. So, yeah, with the grandchildren. So that was a wonderful moment
Nice.
where the entire family could enjoy this entire 3 day trip. So I think that was one of the most lavish collaborations that I've done with a tourism board, actually.
That does sound really, really fun. That sounds really fun.
What about yours, Angela?
Okay, so I have a bunch that are travel related, but I thought since you talked about travel, I'll talk about stuff.
Okay.
Because as a travel influencer, you can also collaborate with brands for products.
Right.
You do it a lot with technology products because you are outside of your lifestyle brand.
Yes.
I do it with travel products and gear. So I've actually done collaborations for my camera, my mic, my stand, like most everything I have has been a collaboration. So when I was on that trip, doing the cruise from Singapore to Thailand and back again, and then I went to Mulu with the Sarawak Tourism Board, I noticed that the wheel on my luggage was starting to wobble a bit. And I was a digital nomad on a super budget at the time. And I remember saying, okay, I've got to fix this. Let's see in Malaysia what the best luggage company is, or what's out there that's fabulous. And so I ended up emailing Rimowa, which is a really spendy luggage brand. And they were really trying to make a push in Malaysia. And I just messaged them and said, look, this is me. This is my channel. I need a new piece of luggage. Are you interested to collaborate? This is what I would offer you. 2 videos, one in-store shopping, and then another one 3 months later doing a checkup. And they came back and said yes. So the piece of luggage, there's videos where, like, at the start of the trip, I have this red, piece that I had bought that I really liked but was falling apart. And then at the end is this shiny silver Rimowa luggage that cost $1,200 for the single piece.
Wow,
so
that's great.
That for me, and that, it's going to last so long. And it looks, especially for luxury travel, it just looks amazing. And so I've done those types of collaborations, even with my gear bag. There's a camera bag company called Billingham. Okay. And I've done collaborations with Billingham for my gear bag. And that was like a $450 camera bag. So the stuff is also fun. And all of my videos that I've done for Billingham and Rimowa, my video is #1 worldwide, even in Germany where they're headquartered. So I am pretty proud of all of that. And it's actually on YouTube. It's the content with the highest cost per view. So I get paid the most for those luxury product videos. I get paid the most for those, for Ritz-Carlton. There's certain brands that I have the highest cost per view. And so it's beneficial to find within your niche those types of products that not only help elevate your brand status, help you not have a wonky wheel, when you're traveling, but you generate more revenue as well from that type of content once you've identified that it's something that has that potential.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I also feel that, finding a right niche is actually very important, even for upcoming bloggers that we are going to talk about the next, actually. Because what you generally feel is that entering at this point of time, is it correct or not? Because there are a lot of people already. So, if as long as you are able to find the right niche for yourself and then stick to it while creating the content rather than just, doing a lot of other things, that helps a lot, actually. So,
Yeah, the niche
yeah.
down to rise up
Niche down.
theory.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that is really important because you can't just set up a channel and just be you and post about everything. There
Right,
has to
absolutely.
be there has to be a niche today. It's too saturated. It's
Right,
just too
yeah.
saturated out there. All right, so let's give some tips to anyone looking to be a travel influencer. I want to talk about the media kit because I think most people starting out don't understand the importance of actually having content and having your channel be populated already and have some following, but they don't understand about the media kit and how important that is. So mine is quite visual, yours is quite text based. Do you want to share a bit about the media kit and how that is an important factor for brands making a decision?
Yes, Angela. I think Media Kit has been really influential in me getting a lot of collaborations because I started realizing that brands want to see what are the kind of things that you've worked before, and writing it in an email is okay, but having it in a PDF with of course some text should be there, but also having screenshots of your previous collaborations, talking about the brands that you have worked before, maybe some screenshots of some of the activities that you did before, some of the maybe some media coverage that you have got. All those things helps a lot in your media kit. So I think that's very important, that media kit should cover what are the things that you have done before, and even if it is not with regard to collaborations, try to show it what you are good at, and because that is the just that could give you an edge over somebody else who doesn't have the media kit or who doesn't have enough collaborations.
Yeah, I
So,
also, in my media kit, I have a couple of, because I do mine as slides and then
yeah.
save it as a PDF. And on one of my, I have a couple of case studies
Yeah.
where I show, like for the Sarawak Tourism Board, they hosted me for a full week. And what I produced was X, Y, and Z content. And it generated, like I had my first viral video on Facebook
Oh,
on that trip. And it had 325 shares.
wow. Okay, that's
Yeah.
great.
And
Yeah.
I didn't boost it. I ended up going to a night market when I was on that trip and I filmed everything. And people just loved it. It was within the community, it wasn't external, but
Mhm.
that still helped because it was shared so much that the filtration of it around.
Right.
But I put in the results basically when it's for the good ones and ones that will,
Yeah.
brands that people will respect the results for.
Right, absolutely. I think
Yeah,
I think that that's very important also. I think showing the results, showing some kind of what is the kind of value that the brand also got from the collaborating with you is something which helps a lot also.
well, and the other thing you had mentioned the email, because the email
Yeah.
is vital. Without the email, there's no start. They're not going to
Right.
engage with you on social media. You need to send the email to the public relations department, or in
Right.
some cases, it's the Marcom manager.
Right.
And for me, because I don't have a big channel, like your pitch email is very different to my pitch email because we've both seen each other's pitch emails.
Right.
Mine is like, if you go to YouTube right now and type in the following, you'll see my videos are number one. And then I have Four Seasons Maldives Kodahura. I list all of these brands that are like, ooh. And then I'm interested to collaborate. This is what I'd offer. And I keep it small. Like I'm not too lengthy in the, like I want to collaborate part. You just have one sentence, two sentences, and that's good. And then I list what I would deliver, and then from your side, it would be great, da, da, da. And then I put bullet points of what I expect from them. And then just, if you're interested, it'd be great to speak. Here's my contact details. Have a great day.
Right.
That's how I do mine.
Yeah, mine is quite similar actually. I of course talk about my follower base, which is there. I talk about the different collaborations that I've done in past. That kind of gives the credibility to tie up with me. And then also I talk about the deliverables that I'm going to give, and what are the expectations that I'm having from there. For example, especially if I am looking at it from a family angle, because I cover it from an family aspect. I also talk about, I will be traveling with my wife and my 7-year-old son, and then we would be looking at some kid friendly activities also that we can do and all that. So then they also show up, like for example, when I recently collaborated with Westin Bali, they told us that there is a kids club which is there also on premises on the resort, so that you could keep your children there while you go ahead and enjoy some adventure activities on the seashore or something like that. So those are the things that I like to pitch in my mail. And I think mail helps a lot rather than just messaging on the social, because it gives a kind of credibility, and it gives more
Professionalism too.
professional. Yeah, it's very professionalism. It gives a professional touch to the entire collaboration.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. It does make a big difference. And the media kit, because I've always worked in marketing and comms, I know how to package myself up. So even though it's a small channel, I can showcase in the right way so that it does look like because I do generate value. So it's, just it's shining a light in the right spots, and not hiding the negative, but just not shining a bright light on those. I launched my first video on YouTube in 2012. It was my first hotel review, and it was Taj was so happy working with me after that Sunday brunch trio of blog posts. The Taj Yeshwanpur was opening up, and they wanted to promote it. And so my YouTube channel started. I used to have this Sony Coolpix camera because in India I went to so many parties. Every week I was at one or two parties where I was in an evening dress or a cocktail dress, and so I had these tiny purses. So I took around this Sony Coolpix, and that's what I shot all of the photos for my blog with. And when they checked me into this beautiful suite. And it was a Sikh gentleman who checked me in. So he had his elegant turban, and he just looked so wonderful. And my very first video is a room tour. It's fuzzy as fuck. It is super blurry. I'm moving around the whole time, so it's very annoying. But that was how I got started on YouTube, which I still love going back and looking at that room tour. I walked people through the air conditioner settings and the stupidest things that I would never do today. But it was, YouTube.
That's fun. That was fun. That's how you got started. And it's always good to look back and how we started and how far we have come. That's great.
Yeah, I really made a mistake, though, by focusing on the blog and not the YouTube channel. Because if in 2012 I had focused on the YouTube channel instead of my blog, can you imagine? Because for years, up until 2016, really, I put out several videos per year, and that was it.
That's what I've been realizing.
And I didn't realize. I didn't know.
I've been realizing also that in YouTube, I think if you put content more regularly, like once a week or something like that, that works much faster, and that helps you. YouTube also promotes your content much more. That's how it works. But I think still your content is really wonderful in the luxury space. So that I think you still have a very niche in that, actually.
I have so much fun with it too, because it's just such a joy. It's my favorite hobby. And I think that helps, that it's not like we said, it's not our moneymaker. So we get to just be joyful with it.
Right.
Because it's not work.
Yeah.
You have responsibility, but it's not work. So if someone were starting out today, what would you recommend? Doing just Instagram or a blog or YouTube, or what would you do if you were starting out today?
So like I was saying, I think it's very important to find the right niche for yourself. So if you're example, if you're doing travel, don't do just couple travel that everybody else is doing. Maybe you are focusing on backpacking, or maybe you're focusing on luxury travel, and maybe you're focusing on family travel. So those are the kind of things which are still very niche kind of aspects. So I think you focus only on that. Don't try to put content which is irrelevant to that to that branding that you have got. And also I would say, yeah, I think YouTube, if you have got time on your hands, and because it takes a lot of time, that people don't realize that YouTube, they think that it's very just putting up normal videos, but even the normal videos, trying to edit it and trying to make it relevant, trying to make it catchy, so that in the first 5 to 10 seconds a person is interested and doesn't skip to another video. That is something very important. And if you are putting in YouTube, it's the key is consistency actually. So it's very important to put it every week, and try to put content which is relevant to the particular time of the year at that moment. So for example, in India right now, there were a lot of festivals which are going on. So if you could put content around that, or if you are putting content around some of the latest things which are happening around the world, so those would be pushed by YouTube much more. So if I was starting right now, and if I had time on my hand, I would say that I would start with a YouTube channel, and then try to create niche. Also in India, what something is really working is vernacular languages. Like, so somebody creating it in Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, any of these local languages, that is working much better than Hindi, because everybody there's a lot of content in Hindi actually. So I would suggest that actually.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't start a blog today if I was starting either. I would start a YouTube channel and then try to focus more on Instagram than Facebook, but also have a Facebook page. And I would definitely, because you see these new bloggers who start, or sorry, you see these new YouTubers who start, and they don't take the time to learn how to do a freaking video. And it's so painful to watch. It's just impossible to watch. So I think I would invest in hours of YouTube tutorials, because there's so many great YouTube channels that teach you how to make amazing videos, how to edit amazing videos, tips and tricks and this and that. So back when you and I started, we just used to write, and then we learned SEO, and that was really helpful. And then it's video. So we learned little by little and made our mistakes earlier on. Yeah. But today you can't start a channel and make those mistakes. You have to spend a bit of time to get up with the technology.
Right, absolutely. I think you need to look at what are the tips which are available about creating interesting videos actually, because even very important that even your cover photo should be very interesting. What you write as a title, what you write as the description is very important, so that YouTube recommends your videos to people who are seeing similar videos. So that's very important. Like, I'll take an example where recently Sunita, my wife, has a YouTube channel, and I was helping her create the video about our trip to Pakistan. So from Amritsar, we crossed over to Pakistan to see a Gurudwara, which is a Sikh house of worship. So this is the only time that Indians are given opportunity to visit Pakistan, because generally Indians, Pakistanis don't get along well. So so I created content so that where I put the title as taking my 6-year-old son to Pakistan, and that was like a very interesting title, and because people were curious to see why somebody is taking her son to Pakistan. And then so they started following my wife's channel, and then suddenly from around regularly her channel gets maybe 1,000 views per video. This video got 65,000 views, and it went viral. And then a lot of Pakistanis, there were some 500 comments by Pakistanis where they were talking about they were really happy that Indians are coming to visit their country, and they felt that it's a step towards the peace talks that we are doing. So I think that was really wonderful. So I think it's very important that I would credit the virality of the video to the content that I put up, the description that I put up about Indian visiting Pakistan, and also about the cover picture that I used, where my son is crossing on that border between India and Pakistan actually. So I think that's something which you need to work on the videos rather than just put up a video for the sake of it actually.
Yeah, it really, people need to understand about SEO. And I think there are tools like TubeBuddy that are very helpful for, especially for new YouTubers, to kind of get a feel for a title, how well is that title going to perform, the hashtags that are embedded in the metadata, where is it going to land on the page, and realize that unless you're a super famous person who launches a channel, then you can post whatever the hell you want and however the hell you want it, and your fans are going to watch because they love you already. If not, yeah, you need to educate yourself before you get started. Absolutely. But if we can do it, anybody can do it.
Yes.
I'm still amazed at how much this is my favorite hobby. I mean, I love traveling, but there's something about shooting and editing video and telling the story that way that's just, I love it. I love it.
Yes, that's that. Even growing up, I didn't travel much, but I wanted to, since I became independent and started working on my own, wherever possible, I used to I remember I used to work in Accenture, and in around 2005, when I went for my first trip to US, so I went to Florida. So
oh, nice.
Miami, and so what I did is that I begged my manager, my US manager, that I just want to extend my trip by 3 days, because it was just a 2-day conference, and going for a 2-day conference all the way to the US doesn't make sense for me. So I was like, I just want to extend 3 days. Can you just please give me a chance? And then she not just approved that, she in fact allowed me to stay in the same hotel, the conference hotel, for 2 more nights. And
that's so nice.
That was sweet of her. And then I just went ahead and then visited all the places, the Everglades, and then I visited the South Beach. And
that is night and day different I mean, Miami South Beach and Bangalore are like, whoa, it could not be, because Bangalore is so conservative and South Beach is so not. That had to be like what you see in the films, right?
Yes,
coming
absolutely.
to life.
Yeah,
and the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris and all of that.
All those things which were going on the South Beach, and it was like an amazing experience actually. That also. There's always been trying to take time out of work also, and trying to do what I really love actually, which was travel.
Nice. Well, it has been so fun talking to you. Can you please tell everyone what they should be looking out for on your channel, and share your social media so people can follow you?
So you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Dhempe, Dhempe. And, I share a lot of travel content about the different things that you can visit, not just in India, but also around Southeast Asia and sometimes across the world. And also I talk about a lot of lifestyle products, and also the different kind of food that you can explore in India and across the world actually.
Nice. I'll put links for everyone down below as well for you.
Sure,
you guys definitely check out Hrish's content. It is very, very fun, especially if you're a family. It gives such great ideas for things to do, and for parents to showcase their child on social media in a different way as well.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Angela.
Thank you so much for your time. It was really nice to see you. Please say hi to Sunita from me.
Sure, I'll do that. Absolutely. Thanks.
All right. I send a big hug to you guys. Bye.
Bye. Take care.